Joining us now in Studio B is the BYU football punter, rugby national champion, and BYU superfan, Jonny Linehan. Welcome back to Studio B, Johnny.
Thank you. It's been a while. I thought you forgot about me, but it's good to be back.
Didn't forget about you.
We saw you
kidding
Saturday
me?
at Santa Clara baseball game, so we're like, let's get Johnny back in.
Yeah, speaking
it.
of, I see you at a ton of BYU events, like whatever it is. Like I see you all over the place rooting on BYU. I think Nate Austin, in my opinion, for a long time was like the ultimate BYU athlete superfan. Like, have you now taken that role as the ultimate superfan and athlete at BYU?
Oh, I would love to say I have, yeah. It's nice because we get into everything for free now, except rugby. They make us pay for that.
Did you have to pay to get into rugby?
You have to pay for rugby?
Yeah, I felt like I jumped the fence, but no, I actually went and paid. I was like, I can support the team $5, you know. So.
Okay.
You paid to get into the rugby game.
A national champion BYU rugby player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt bad. I was like, yeah, I feel like if the coach just saw me walk in, they'd kind of give me the stanky eye. So I thought I better pay my dues.
They might anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When did you first learn about BYU in New Zealand?
So I actually look back on some of my pictures. I had a BYU kind of long sleeve, but I never really paid attention to the sports or anything. But I knew it was the church school, so I was kind of interested in it. But I really didn't hear anything about it until I actually wanted to come here and watch the Point Theatre Bowl with Carl Van Noy just going ham.
That was the moment.
Yeah, that was the moment, yeah. So I knew I was going to come. And it was funny, I was walking around the streets in New Zealand, and I saw some of my buddies. I just got out of the internet cafe. I think I was playing like Counter-Strike or something.
The internet cafe.
Yeah. So I was like, it was like $2 for an hour, you know. That's what we did back in New Zealand. But don't tell my mum. But yeah, I saw.
You just told her.
I know. I saw some of my friends. I was like, hey, watch this game's gonna be on ESPN, because it was exciting because BYU Sports is never on TV over in New Zealand. I said, hey, watch this game's gonna be on ESPN. That's the school I'm going to in a few weeks, and then. Man, who would have thought in a few years I'd be playing for that team that I was watching? So,
yeah, in your wildest, when you think about that in 2012, watching the Poinsettia Bowl, and now it's 2016, you are the punter on that team. In your wildest dreams, did you ever make that connection?
Not as a punter. I was like, man, I think I could play this game. And then I came here and realized how difficult it would be to pick up a skill position. But yeah, I used to turn it off on fourth downs. Now I turn it off until fourth down. So it's so it's nice. Yeah.
What are summer practices like right now? How often and when do you practice?
So yeah, we're just doing lifting right now. So we practice Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday's optional. So it's usually 2 hours. So we go and we do 1 hour of like conditioning, speed, and power work, and then 1 hour of lifting. And it's really neat. I'm probably the strongest I am and the heaviest I've been, which is like my goal. I kind of want to start looking a little like Taysom as a punter.
Good luck with that, man.
That'd be nice. Yeah, I know it's going to be quite difficult, but I'm still trying to grow those few inches, but don't know what food to eat. But no, practices are neat. We're all enjoying it and pumped up and excited for the September game.
What's your desired weight, and how will that translate to being a better punter?
So I want to be 205 pounds and like 8% body fat. And it's not so much that it's going to translate to a better punter. It's just going to look better on TV.
And they take all the pictures are taken before the season, right? So
Exactly.
you got to do this now.
Yeah, they oil you up. So like they kind of cheat in a way that makes you look
everyone
bigger
does.
than
It's
you
all
are.
good, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I kind of just, it's more for image than it is for performance.
Does your wife, Marissa, support this effort?
Well, yeah.
Did she do it herself in women's soccer?
I guess she's going to support the results, but right now she's a bit disgusted at how much I'm trying to eat.
Jonny Lineman, the BYU punter, with us on BYU Sports Nation. You just received recently news that you were going to be on a full ride scholarship. How and when did that information come, and who did it come from?
So I went to a fireside in Michigan with Coach Kalani and Coach Lamb. And when we were coming back in the airport, Coach Satake was like, "Are you on scholarship yet?" I was like, "No." And he's like, "Well, we better get that figured out." So I kind of knew after spring ball it was kind of in the works because I'd spoken to him about it, but I didn't know exactly when it was going to happen. So it was kind of like a bit of a high anxiety moment, just waiting for it to come about. So when I found out in a team meeting, well, we actually had a message sent to us saying there's going to be a team meeting on tomorrow, and I got my hopes up. And that was probably the worst thing. I told my wife, I said, maybe it could be tomorrow. And she couldn't sleep that night, neither could I. So I show up to team meeting like nothing's happening, and then they announced it, and it was just, really overwhelming, like just super joyful experience. Even though I knew it was going to come, like it actually happened, and it was something like I'll never forget. It's pretty awesome.
How'd the team react?
Yeah, they were pretty stoked. I think, I love the team.
Can you imagine them booing? Boo!
Like, he's just a punter. Like,
Why are we handing him out to the punter, man?
I know, yeah. Maybe that's what some of them thought, but yeah, I think they fear me more than anything. So.
They fear the 205 pounds that
Exactly,
you're trying to
yeah.
become.
Well, they will. Yeah,
They will. Yeah, okay.
I think you've had 2 fake punts last year. Was that the number?
Oh, yeah, I remember one of them, and one I've forgotten because it was garbage. Yeah.
Over under 2.5 fake punts this upcoming year.
Yeah, over.
Over. Okay. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does this have anything to do with you seeking to become Taysom Hill of punters?
I think it just comes down to confidence, and kind of the new coaching stuff that we have. Last year, a couple days ago, I went up to the film room and watched every punt I was in on, like the good and the bad, just kind of analyzing, scanning the field, just to see what I can do better. And this year, I've changed up a few things on my rugby. I've figured out how to catch the ball in a way where I can get the laces out without having to look down at the ball, so I can scan more of the field. So it's going to make me more of a weapon if people don't respect. I guess if they just kind of take off to try and block downfield. So that has part to do with it. But also just I'm more confident. Last year things came at me really fast. Like I thought they were sprinting at me every time. And then I look at the film, I was like, man, they weren't even coming, you know? So part of it's just kind of, it was a new sport, wasn't used to it. Now I'm trying to slow things down, make it more of my own. So.
Is that where you expect to make the biggest improvement this year, is just the game slowing down? Or is there another specific area you want to that you're focusing in on?
Yeah, so definitely the game slowing down has a lot to do with it. I know last year I didn't give up too many big returns. I think Utah State was probably my worst game because, well, there's no excuse. It was pretty cold, but I just kind of rushed things. But if I slow things down, make sure my drop's consistent, then I can get more height on the ball, put it in the spot I want. So I really, along with just slowing things down, I don't want to give up any return. You know, I know a lot of people tweet me, they're like, we want to see you smash someone. I'm like, if I smash someone, that means I gave up a return and kind of let the team down. So I'm working on a little bit more height, better direction, and just trying to give up, no yards.
Well, when do you go with the rugby punt versus traditional?
So last year it was called, and this year I've spoken to the coaches. Last year they told me what to do, which is kind of not my personality, but since it was a new situation, I didn't really say what I felt like I wanted to do, so I wasn't 100% confident every time. This year the coaches come to me, they say, hey, what do you want to do? And I say, if I don't like what they tell me, I say, hey, I'd rather do this. And they go, okay, you're the punter, you know what's best. But it's also based on the look that we get. When I got the punt blocked against East Carolina, we had, I think, 3 coming off the edge, and we're running right into that. And so if our shield doesn't make a block, or even if they do, sometimes they can get past it, and they can block the kick. So if we see 3 off the edge, we're going to go traditional. Anything else, we're probably going to stay rugby.
And do you make that pre-snap, or is that in the moment?
That'll be in the moment. So one of our shield players will most likely call that and just kind of relay that call. But then it's kind of up to whatever we feel as well. So, yes.
I would like to fake punt on this play, and I will make that call in the moment.
Well, that's also an option. Yeah, if the coaches have told me, especially Coach Sataki, he's like, man, be an athlete, make people miss. So I'm like, man, if they want me to do that, it should be an exciting
That's why you're
time,
going
so.
over 2.5 fake punts this year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You're more in control of this thing. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to make them all this time. So
BYU football punter, rugby national champion, Jonny Linehan with us in Studio B, previewing the BYU football season and talking about his current offseason. I want to dive into the mentality of what you were feeling in that first Division I punt, that first official snap you took at Nebraska. What were your emotions and your feelings like when that happened?
Oh man, it was actually really, really cool. I think I kind of like zoned out and just kind of ran on the field like like a wet dog without a home. I don't know if that even makes sense. But I kind of look, I'm like running out there. I'm like, I still had my mouthpiece in my helmet. Most of my punts last year, I didn't put my mouthpiece in, which is like the cardinal sin in rugby. That's the only protection I need was a mouthpiece. Now I'm dressed up like I'm going to jump off a cliff, and I don't need my mouthpiece. So, but it was super windy. I had 5 punts at Nebraska. 4 of them were into like a 20-mile-an-hour wind. And
Didn't one go like 70 yards or
77.
something?
77 was with the wind. Yeah, so.
And that was the longest punt for a couple weeks.
So I'm until Michigan.
So much
But
for us.
he got his karma pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just savage. I tell you, because he's Australian, we gotta.
Oh, you had to throw that in there.
Exactly.
I didn't realize that connection too. Because he punted at Weber State, and then he went to Michigan.
He
too.
did.
There
Yeah.
was a local connection.
He did.
I'm
Yeah,
guessing-
Blake's the man.
I'm guessing you think that would not have happened to you had you been the punter in that situation, correct?
Well, heaven forbid. Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Yeah, just eat it at that point. Don't
Just
like
fall
try and kick
down,
it, right?
man.
Well, I know. No. Yeah.
Is that something you talked about? Like, okay, what if this happened? What would we do?
I think we spoke about it a little bit. But yeah, I had a lot of people coming up and say, if that happened to you versus Utah, it'd be off with your head. I was like,
Thank you.
rightly so. Yeah.
Holy cow. Johnny, it's been great to talk to you. Have you signed our new stretch Y flag? Has it been long enough that you haven't signed the new flag?
I'm trying to find my.
Just sign it.
Just sign it again. If there are 2
Sign it
Johnny
left-handed,
Linehan
upside down,
signatures
whatever, man.
on there, that's fine.
No,
Hey,
I
sign
don't
it as
think it
Steve
is.
Young, whatever, man.
Steve Young.
Yeah,
Who's
sign
that?
it as Steven Adams.
I know, right?